Okay, so just testing out the live here. I've never actually done a live video, so I've got my backboard here to work on. You guys leave your questions in the live stream. I'm actually trying to figure out how to access that. So if you have any questions, just post them there. And I'm guessing, oh yeah, so right there. Thank you, see page 07. I actually found the live chat now. So if you guys have any questions or want to interact, I'll be working on my backboard, but I'm willing to answer any questions or talk about anything that you guys might be interested in. Thanks, Daniel. Well, I'm trying something new. Stay fresh. And there's a long process of carving the backboard here. I've been on this thing for like about 2 weeks. It takes forever. That's a big plate. Yeah, I actually enjoy the process, but it is a big plate to carve. Dane is asking how much one of my custom instrument go for. It would depend on which one, but an average would be about 5,000. This one, I'm hoping for like close to the 5 digits US, well, Canadian, so US it would probably retail more in the 9,005 or around there, if everything goes according to plan with that one, but that's usually the price range I go for. And as you can see, all the work is right now like it. that's all the money right here. All the handwork. You can't really use a power tool to do that. Like you really have to go by hand and take your time. So I have another question from Daniel. How much instrument I have made in my lifetime? Less than 100. And then how much per year? I used to have a day job, so I would probably round up about a couple a year. In the past couple of years, my son's been diagnosed with life-threatening disease, so we've been back and forth with the hospital. I don't really have a day job anymore, so I've been taking care of my teenage son. But in the last year I did 2 of them. One of them was a custom octave mandolin, which I have a video series of that one. And I finished up the mandolo as well. So those were the 2 builds that I did while taking care of my son. I'm hoping to pick that up now that I'm doing this full time. But hopefully I can get like probably maybe 2 or 3. I don't want to rush things. I'm in a position right now that I can actually enjoy the process and make sure that every instrument that come out of here is up to par with what I expect of every instrument that I'm making. But yeah. C page 07 is asking if the back and the front have the same curves. No, and they're not graduated the same. The reason is because this section where sits under the neck block holds a lot of the tension from the neck. So this section here has to be shaped a lot differently than the top, because the top actually has the pressure from the bridge, and this one has the tension from the neck, pulling from the neck block. Oh, we get a lot of great questions. So the Avex plane is an interesting plane. it doesn't have a lot of room for the chips to come out, so I usually pick at it with like a little, this is like a little compass, just to empty it, because I don't want to always redo the setting. It's faster this way, just to clean it up. When the shavings come out clean, it doesn't clog up, but yeah. Dane is asking, is this all self-taught, or did you take classes for all this knowledge? I read a lot of books. My background, like I learned guitar as a teenager. My background is mostly woodworking. I kind of went through all the phases of woodworking, making some furniture here and there. I did some log furniture as well, log beds. I made a wood strip kayak that I posted pictures of, like a slideshow on my YouTube page, but it's always been about pushing the limits, and I find that Luthiery is actually pushing to the maximum the envelope. So I read a lot of stuff that was written early on from luthiers, or like books you can find like in thrift stores or whatever, and then I bought some other books that were had very good reviews. I've got a pretty good selection of books right here inside the house about the subject, and basically went at it as a woodworker, and from there kind of working my way towards better and better instruments. Sometimes people are asking me, like, I must be a good player, and my answer is like, not really. I come from the woodworking side, and what I find sometimes is it's kind of funny that when somebody's a good, like, let's say a guitar player, nobody asks him if he actually builds his own instruments. So those are, I think, two different areas of knowledge, and I actually enjoy playing here and there, but you'll never see me on a stage. I'm not good enough for that, and it's not something that attracts me anyway. But yeah, it was for me to push the woodworking part of it. Hey, St. Pat's. Not going to get much done tonight. So Daniel says I'm not going to get that much done tonight because of probably what is he saying? The exclusive. Okay, he's asking if I only do mandolins, or if customers willing to pay if I can build anything. I don't know if the shop gets the guitar over there, but I build guitars. I actually built an ES335 that was a custom built for my brother. I built acoustic guitars. I actually have one written that started like from quite a while ago, but with my son's disease that I was explaining a bit earlier, like that one's been pushed aside, and I'm actually trying to get some prints out, because the octave mandolin prints have been going out really steadily, and it's a good form of income for me. And I'm hoping to get those prints for the Mandocello available as well, which would help for my business being more sustainable. And then that way I can start building other instruments as well. But I've got jigs for ukulele, I've got jigs for guitars, like OM style orchestra model. I've got the prints and jigs for the octave mandolin, and now I'll have this one with the mandola and the mandolins, so F and A style. Page 7 is asking if I ever get burned out on a build. This one. I mentioned earlier, just the carving took a couple of weeks, like my fingers and my hands and articulations, like carving a plate for mandolin, it's pretty hard. Like that's like 3 times like the size. I didn't expect that much resistance from it, and I cleaned. You'll see in the upcoming video, but I cleaned most of the waste with a bench plane. So like for the finger plane, it's actually not that much, but yeah, like some of them I get burned out. Yeah. It's nice to have company for a change. So what are you guys up to tonight? You guys doing anything on the Friday? For me here it's just 7 o'clock. I'm on the Pacific Northwest. So I just put my little 3.5-year-old to bed and just spending some time working on this project here. Got some pop-up pages here. Well, that sounds like a good plan, going out for dinner. Daniel's asking me if I give my instrument model names. In the early ones I was trying to have like, well that one was one of the very first my very first F5 that I made, and I was trying to get into a naming system, but it was mostly like I call that one Special Lily, and then like the few after that, like there was the Beast, the Sea Breeze, and Wildfire, and usually come with the color pattern that I put on them. The Special Lily was because of the inlay work on it. And that one I'm actually reworking the neck because I didn't like how big it was. It was big and bulky. But I don't know if you guys can see, like there's a lily pattern on it. So this one, like I had started with naming instruments with that, and I don't know, I usually just put the serial number now. Like the Mandocello is going to have a curly back. I'm not even sure yet on the finish I want to put on it because of the torrefied top. Usually when you have a torrefied top, you actually want to showcase that, which means that I'm going to have to stay kind of very mellow on the kind of popping of the grain all around the instrument. So I want to do, I've got some crop from the actual leftovers from the rim, and like little piece from the surrounding of the back here that I want to try to kind of try my hand at some stains, and I don't want to pop it too much just because of the torrefied top. But if I end up going for a deep color, I'm just going to forget the whole fact that I want to showcase the top and just go with a more traditional kind of maybe reddish color, and maybe in those colors, maybe. Like I said, I'm not sure yet. Okay, so St. Patrick's is asking, he's starting an acoustic bass build. Now, is that a stand-up bass, like a double bass, or is that just like a guitar-style acoustic bass? He's asking advice for the wood. Dane is asking, do I build multiple instruments at a time? I tried once to have like a triple batch of F5s, and this was way too much, because like doing like some parts go really good, like the rims are going really well and quick. The soundboards is a breeze too when you get onto the fretboard, but like to carve, once again, like hard maple, to carve the back by hand 3 at a time, it was just like, what was I thinking? And then all the finishing work as well, like when you build, well, I would say maybe if you go and you have like, let's say a guitar and then you do a mandolin, you can actually jump around, or stagger them would probably be a good idea. But like those 3 mandolins, they were like all at the same time, and I found it pretty exhausting to try to manage to keep the 3 of them done at the same time. So I rather now to just do the one, and I've I've been pretty lucky in the past few years. I actually had a few customers, so I was able to just get concentrating on the one build, and then had another customer waiting, and I had another build, and so that's been pretty good. But before then, I did try a few instruments at the same time, and I don't think it's something I would like to do again, because I don't have like CNCs and like power carvers or all that kind of stuff. So, and that's not something I want to get either. So St. Patrick's, about the question about the acoustic bass, he's looking to do like a Mandocello style, well, guitar style, or custom design. So for the top, I would go with a spruce, depending if you're looking for a more bright or warmer sound. A warmer sound, I would go more with the Engelmann type of spruce, but it's not as stiff as Sitka or Adirondack. Adirondack spruce or red spruce is not as good as it used to be. Like I have a feeling like all the old growth has been, unless you can get your hand on a piece of old growth, I think it's got the name. The sound is probably, I don't actually have a piece to test, but the sound is probably similar to a good piece of Sitka, because the old growth, like I said, are pretty much done, and then like you're going within like wider wood grain, and I don't know, like a good piece of spruce top would be the first thing, and then depending on what kind of sound you want, like going maple all around is going to be very bright. You can go, like if you go with a carved back, you can go with, I guess walnut would be warmer. You can try like, there's some exotic woods that you could try, like a rosewood that thick would be pretty expensive and probably hard to find too. I guess it depends on the sound you're looking for. Any other hobbies other than woodworking? Yes, I like hiking. I usually go at least 5K per day. On weekends, last weekend I did 15K, and then the weekend before I did 18. I'm working out the strength to do like there's a day hike. Some people do it in 2 days, but I want to try to do it in 1 day, and it's summiting. It's right up close here. It's called Mount Albert Edwards, and it's 32 kilometers for a round trip, and it's going up in elevation. So I want to try to do that again this summer, which I failed last summer when I tried, and there's a video of that. But I lost a lot of weight, so that should be helpful, and I got better gear as well to get me up there. So I do a lot of walking and hiking. So I'm part of a group on Facebook that's called Unplugged Luthiers, and Daniel has asked me that he's seen a fair amount of my work in that group, and he's wondering what's the percentage of handwork compared to power tools. I do use power tools as much as I can, but to the limits of, like right now you see me like I'm using hand tools just because there's no power tools that I found that can do a refined job like that. Like I really want to take my time for keeping my dimensions and not removing too much wood. That being said, like I used to thickness my sides by hand, so I would take probably like 3/4 of a day to a full day, like 8 hours, to just thickness my sides to the thickness that I wanted, and now I've got the drum sander. So just to appreciate more, or like helping with the production part, when I can skip ahead and just get those done, which is not very big issue in my book, when you're thinking about hand work. Like all the shaping of the side is still made by hand. I don't have a machine that does that. All the carving of top and back, it's all by hand. Shaping the neck, it's all by hand. But the neck joint, I used my bandsaw just to make sure that my joint would be 90 degrees breeze. It makes a breeze of the whole process. It just, like, I like to mix it. So to give a percentage, most of the time in my shop, I would say 75% of the time I'm using hand tools, and 25% of that time is power tools, but that 25% would probably like make days extra on the amount of work that I have to do. So I like to not cut corners, but take shortcuts in the amount of thicknessing and I guess, how can I say that? Like for example, the dovetail that I just did, it's easier to just get the two sides exactly with the angle on the table. Like the time to cut it's just a lot quicker, and you can get to the next step with your hand tools. I really love hand tools, and I guess I get rid of the bulk. I guess that's the word I was trying to say, to search. I get rid of the bulk with machinery, and then I do all the hand tool work after. This thing here, somebody is asking what's the silver thing. Yeah, that's the vacuum for the house. It's a vacuum, like we have the plug-in in the walls, and it's sitting here, but I can actually use that for my oscillating spindle drum sander, and then it's got an EPA filter as well, so it's actually more efficient than my other dust collection. Came with the house, so I didn't argue with that. Okay, Daniel would like to see my drum sander. He's been thicknessing his guitar sides. I'll just try to move the camera here. Let's see if I can do it like that. So my drum sander here is 17-inch wide, and it's beside the planer, but the planer is too narrow for that kind of stuff. It's CWI. It's a Canadian company. It's built in Taiwan. So basically a company that owns, it is Canadian, but like any other tools like Grizzlies or whatever, it's made out of sea. It's a very, very great tool. I really, really like it. I actually paid a lot of money for it, but I don't regret any penny of it. And then I'll just try to open it up for you guys. It's got one drum in it, like that. And then, like when I did the octave mandolin, I actually got it just before I went to thickness the octave mandolin back. And for those of you that have been following that build, there was a lot of figure in that wood, so that would have been a nightmare just to try to thickness that. So let's see if I can put you guys back up here. Yep. Right. Cheers, everyone. I'm not going to use the power tools tonight, so I got a bit of wine. St. Patrick is asking if white ash is any good for an acoustic instrument. I wouldn't use that for the soundboard if you do acoustic. For the back and sides, I don't think it's premium material, but I don't see why not. I guess ash would be close. I would have to check in my notes, but like for toughness or hardness, I would get close to the maple from just by memory, but I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure about ash. I've never used it myself. thank you everyone for all the questions. I was expecting to do the live feed and be by myself, so that's actually pretty cool. I might do that more often. Well, I'll probably try, Danielle. I feel it's a positive addition to the channel. I mean, like I mentioned, I didn't think it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to have anybody basically watching, so that's pretty cool. That's really cool. And to have questions as well. And I guess now it's the time to plug the merchandise. I've got shirts. They're right. The link is right underneath the videos. If you're interested, you can choose the color, the size, and everything. St. Patrick is asking, because Bar River's been provided most of the wood for this build, he's asking if they have a code for me. No, that's not something that we talked about. That's something maybe in the future. I'll check with them. Like the basis of this build was that I was providing the link on my YouTube channel, platform, or whatever you want to call it. And they actually gave me a really good deal on the wood. There's some extra stuff that I had to pay, but like most of the wood that you see for this build was basically free. Like I mentioned, like a few items I had to pay extra, but no, really happy with the wood. And like either way, even if it would not have been a mutual understanding of like I help you, you help me type thing, I would have still got my wood there, because that's always where I get my wood for my instruments. Their quality is outstanding. Like if you haven't seen those guys, I'll probably add the link in the description by the time this live feed is over. But go check those guys out if you want some specialty woods. And they ship worldwide. They ship it they ship to Europe and Australia, and they ship everywhere. And they have great quality woods, as long as obviously the country is willing to accept the wood coming in, because there's those regulations. But so Daniel is saying if I could explain how the EBEX plane works with the bottom curve on the backboard. I guess I can do that. I'll try to get a closer look here. See if I can get you guys closer. Now, it might be a bit shaky, because like I mentioned, it's the first time that I tried to do that in here. Whoop. And you guys are looking at me. Let's see if we can. Sorry guys, hopefully you don't get seasick. Okay. So basically, when you use gouges, you can only go a certain radius. At one point, you can get the extra radius that you need. So So with a little Ibex plane like that, like there's a curvature going lengthwise and the curvature going this way as well. And that allows you to go and basically dig down into the plate to get the proper curvature that you want to have. If you can remind me, Danielle, I don't really remember the exact question that you asked me online today because I answered quite a few. But basically the Ibex plane is allowing you to get a better curvature than like a gouge would allow you to get. And then what I do is refine with the card scraper. So like around here there's going to be a little ring that's going to go pretty much the whole way around, and I actually drill my holes for the thickness of that, and then I'm going to use this and scrape this section, and that's going to create the flex in the plate here. Okay, so the question from Danielle was how do I use it to get the different curves? So at this point in the shaping of the plate, I used, before that I had the ridges from the gouges. So what I would do is go against those ridges to get it to a flat state like this one. And then I've got like the different depth, like I don't know if you can see, but those ones I'm already almost there. So I'm not going to work too much here, but by going in stroke one beside the other, I can get closer, and then when those holes are closer like those ones, well then I'll move over again, but then those ridges are already done. So what I usually do after is go straight then that breaks the ridges again, and then, but I do that just for the finishing touches. Like from those of you that have been following from the beginning, in this section up here, I've been basically going at it and removing wood just to get down, and then when I get closer I'll start doing like the cross thing. There's an angle like in this section, like going down this way. If I go too much on an angle this way, I'm going to get tear out. But that's pretty much obvious because you got the end grain running this way and then you're going uphill. So I try to stay straight and go down, and you shouldn't have any problem. I really need a bigger one. This little one works great on mandolins. I just thought I'd be okay to use that for the Mandocello. I figured no biggie, but that's something like if I get to make more and more of the Mandocellos, I'll definitely get like probably like a size about this big. I think it's the size just before the bigger one with the curve sole. But they're really sharp, so it just takes a bit of patience. And then I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it, but it's starting to ring and is able to hold the ring. So I'll try to bring it close to the recording device. So I don't know if you guys just hear the tap or if you can actually hear the ring after, but it rings for about 2 seconds already, and I still have the whole bass side to do still. Hey Steve. Right, so I'll just reset the camera over here. Try to get more of the workbench. It's a bit crooked. There we go. Thank you everyone for stopping by. All the newcomer, we're up to 15 now. That's pretty cool. On a Friday night. I did mention earlier I didn't expect anybody to follow along, so that's pretty cool. I'll definitely add that to the thing I can do maybe once a month, or maybe we'll see, depending on the workflow I have. St. Patrick says it's a fun thing when they come to life, and yeah, like it's very rewarding. And like I'm saying, like there was a 2-second ring on this plate, but 2-second-ish ring on the plate. And I remember when I finished the soundboard, like there was like up to 8 seconds, and I'm hoping this one's gonna ring for that long. And when everything is as a box, that should be really, really, really cool. I can't wait to hear it. I really, honestly, I've been wanting a Mandocello for so long. Been working on those drawings for over 2 years, gathering information and changing the size, and so pretty excited to see how it sounds. I probably won't do a live video, so I'm not good enough as a player to make a live video. But I might find somebody that might be able to do one. Can anybody comment on the quality of the sound? I'm just using my iPhone right now, so I'm just curious to see, like, can you hear me well, or is it how's the sound on your end? Daniel's saying, how big of a air compressor I have by my bench? It's a 8 gallon. I think it's 8. Yes, I use that for spray and finish. I do the high velocity, low pressure. I dial it really low. I usually can do, like on a mandolin per se, I can do a full back and then maybe the rim as well, and then it's going to start, so I wait, and then when it's done I'll start again. But it works. It doesn't take too much room. It's not too noisy, so I actually don't mind it at all. And then I have like the kind of water vapor trap along that line that protects from the humidity coming out. So the sound is a little low. Great sound. Okay, so it's mixed feelings. So I've got a bit of both. So it's not too loud. So okay, so I guess I can pick up my my voice tone a bit. Is that a Humidifier on the wall? What's your setting and what's the state you're in? So Bob is asking if it's a humidifier. I'm thinking you're talking about this here. This is a vacuum. It's the house vacuum. I'm not in the state. I'm in BC, British Columbia. It's actually really nice outside. So I have my heater going for about 2 months during winter. I can actually show you what kind of heater I have. Right up there in the corner. So it's just like a little space heater. And it brings my shop to like 19 Celsius pretty quickly. And then because I've got high ceiling, I just start my dust extractor, dust air cleaner right here. and that circulate. This thing cleans my shop 16 times per hour for dust particles. So that creates a great airflow to get my shop to temperature. And then when I'm not in my shop and the heating is not working, well, I take the Mandocello out and the plate and put that inside the house so I don't have any problems with the wood. So it's always to a good temperature. I guess the audio was bad because I'm away, and then I was really close to do that little bit set, but sorry, like I'm gonna have to check to maybe get a mic. Somebody said there's attachments for iPhones. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream, it's the first time I do one. I was just checking it out, and then I didn't expect anybody to actually join. So like we went up to 15 earlier watching, and now we're at 11. So yeah, so I'll probably look into some kind of microphone. If the sound is really bad, I'll look into it for sure. The Dirty Knob's asking what size Ibex plane I use. So I'm using the smallest one with the curved sole. I don't remember the exact size for it. Oh, looks like I'm frozen. I don't know if you guys see me frozen, but anyway. So yeah, so it's the smallest of the Ibex planes that I have right now. And then I will probably get, like for mandolins it works great, but for a bigger instrument like that, I'll probably get a mid-size or one of the bigger ones with the round sole. Okay, so I'm not frozen for you guys, so that's good. Be a statue. Alright. Huh. So I froze, but you guys can still hear me. Okay. That's sad. I wonder why. Oh. I think it should be okay now. My phone just told me that I've got 20% battery on it. So yeah. So it was frozen because my phone was letting me know that my time is short. Yep, now it's working. Okay. Maybe next time I should start out with a full battery. Oh, glad to hear see all the people coming in. Hi everyone. So I'm hoping to get the next video out for this build maybe sometime next week. Obviously the glue up on the back for the glue up for the back on the Mandocello won't be part of that video, but probably just the roughing out of this plate to the point that it's ready to be tuned would be probably the next video. And then I still have to put the points here. The points here are going to get some binding, and I need to do that before I put the back on. So I'm thinking this plate is going to be a video, and then I'm going to move on to do the binding and tuning the plate, and then the glue up will be, I'll be able to do the glue up after that. But that's the idea I have right now for timeline on the next video. But this one's been taking more time than I expected. Bob says that he built his bender based on mine. So are you talking about the side bender with the light bulb, or the other one with the torch? Yep, that's my lathe there, Daniel. It's just the Delta Shotmaster. So how's the bender working for you, Bob? Let's see if I missed any message. Glad to hear it's working great for you, Bob, the bender. Seemed like I got most of the questions. That's okay if I don't get too much work done. I'm actually enjoying the live chat, so. The important in the shop is to have fun, right? How thick is the pipe on the bender? That's a good question. I think it was schedule 40 or 80. Let's see. Let's see how thick is the bulb. And for those of you in the chat that are not too sure what we're talking about, this is a video that I made. So the pipe is 1/8 thick. So I would assume it's schedule 40 when you're going for a pipe. This is a pipe bender that I made. There's a 200-watt light bulb in it, and there is a video about the dimension. It was already built before I got into the YouTube making video thing. So what I did was just to give the dimensions, but yeah, so it is 1/8 thick for the pipe. David, Elliot, just find my in every one of my videos, especially the later ones, I've got a link to a contact form to contact me. So if you drop me a line in there, I'll be able to send you either the PDF for the octave mandolin, or I do still have some paper copies on hand, so I could ship that probably Monday if that's what you want. So I'll send you a PayPal money request through your email, and then once the payment is received, I'll be able to send them your way. How big is my shop? It's a 2-car garage. I've got 12-foot ceilings. This one is 22 by 22, I believe, that I measured. Previous one was 18 by 19, so I do have a bit more room to play here. Hi, Dane. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Kyle, that my videos are useful to you. If you have questions, it's time to ask them. I'll do my best to answer. Do I have a 3D file for sale of the Mando? It's not 3D. Are we talking about the octave mandolin? The question is from Dirty Knobs. I have full-size, full-scale blueprints, but they're only 2D. I don't do 3D. All the of the Mando. Yeah, so they're only 2D. They're flat, but they're full size, so you can make your shapes and forms from it if you're after the octave mandolin. Mandocello will be the same idea, to 2D full size, and all the stuff that you need to thickness the plates and like profiles and everything. So I'll put everything in those prints as well when this one is ready to go. Yeah, honestly, 3D for those kind of things, I don't see how they help by being two-dimensional. You can actually have all the information vertical and horizontal, and all the measurements are made. So like by orienting the template in the proper position, you end up having the 3D. For example, like a template like this that was to curve the inside of the to carve the inside of the instrument. So by using this template that will be on the drawing flat, by using it, you end up with the 3D profile that you need. So I don't have 3D blueprints. No. Oh, for the CNC, no, I don't have the knowledge for that. There's a few people that contacted me to make those prints into like a computer file, but then that would mean that I would have to build another one just to make sure that what they've created is exactly for size, and to make sure that you can actually make an instrument from those drawings. And then after that, I would have to make them available. So I know that the drawings that I have right now actually work because I made my own instrument from it. So by sending the information to some like third party and then getting it back, I wouldn't be comfortable selling that after the fact, because without checking it, just for making sure that I'm selling a product that's actually viable. So Kyle is asking for making the dovetail for the neck. In one of my videos, I showed that the triangle-shaped template I used to create all the angles. How did I come up with the proportion for that template? So basically, I already had the two angles on the back of the heel of the neck, and then they were rough shaped, but they were proper sized. And then I put that on a piece of paper and draw two lines, and from there I think it was either 3/16 or 1/4 inch that I moved in from that line, and then I made another line, and that was my triangle. So I wanted it just a tiny bit smaller than the actual neck, and from there I was able to get all mine. But the angle comes from the actual heel itself. Oh yeah, I have to check on my battery for my phone. But for all of you that know how it is to have a teenager at home, my son broke his wire, and I had to give him my extra wire that I usually have in the shop for his phone so he can charge it, and now I don't have one to charge my phone in the shop. So, yeah. So I think it's a good start for the live feed. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to cut it there before the feed cuts us off. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and watching. That was amazing. Like I mentioned, I didn't expect much traffic, but thank you for stopping by, and happy building. If you have any inquiries as for the octave mandolin, or you want to be added for the Mandocello blueprint, just drop me a line. I'll put in the description all the links for contacting me through my website, and then I'll add you to the list. There's already over 20 people waiting on those blueprints, so I can add you pretty easily. So thanks everyone again, and I wish you a great Friday, and I'll see you next time.